Today's video is about applicants as well as tenants, pity sob stories, and why it's usually not heartless to ignore them. When you purchase your first investment home, and if you specifically do the showings, you will notice something. A lot of applicants try to get you to feel sorry for them. Generally speaking, watch out for those that are giving you sob stories and then angrily demanding to know why they haven't been approved if you haven't gotten back to them regarding their application yet. There are literally thousands of homes on the market. Think about why they are so focused on yours specifically. You will find poor quality tenants all the time. Based on property management experience, literally 95% of the good quality prospects do not take it personally when they're not approved, because they know another landlord will gladly scoop them up. The ones that do have a problem with it, well, you probably just dodged the bullet because they are likely the snobby type who like to make sure everyone knows they have a great credit score and they think very highly of him or herself. In the long run, dealing with these snobby types of tenants will often be as bad as dealing with low quality tenants. Now, let's get back to the point. There's a long list of possible sob stories that applicants could give you. Remember, the point of this video isn't for you to be heartless. It's about protecting your assets and minimizing risk. When they are giving you sob stories, it often means they will possibly not pay their rent. They have no other way to get approved by any landlord either, because they know they have poor credits, low income, or whatever the other reason is. So, they resort to try to get you to pity them. Here are the most common ones that we hear from our property management partner company, so that you will know what to look out for. The first one is using their kids. This usually comes from a single parent, but could be couples as well. They bring their kids to the showings, and they start tearing up as they tell the landlord how their kids and them will be homeless if they don't find a home by next week. Now let me start by saying, of course, this is terrible for the child. However, why do they not move in with one of their parents, or siblings, or grandparents' homes while they get back on their feet? Or if they have family problems, maybe a friend's home. This isn't to be a bad person. Of course, it's a bad situation if they're telling the truth, but you are looking for the best interest of your own family as well, which means you are likely not in the position to be a charity. The next one is when people come in to view the house, they submit the application, and as they are handing it to you, they start telling you a long story about how their credit is very bad because of their divorce, or because they loaned their brother $50,000 who disappeared with the money. First of all, this is a sign that you should get a detailed credit report on them to see if they're actually telling the truth, and that they are not just trying to hide behind their late credit card payments. Second of all, what's to say that they won't loan someone money again while they are renting? They'll lose that money again, and now they have nothing to pay you with. Lastly, when this person starts playing the blame game and blaming his or her ex-partner, it's clear that they are not the type of person to take responsibility. Divorces happen frequently, which is understandable, but pay attention to how they describe the divorce and their ex-partner. It will tell you much about their character. Do they at least take responsibility for their own mistakes? The reason that knowing their characters is so important is to see how much they will respect your property. There have been multiple stories from landlords who have had, for example, lower unit tenants complain about leaks from the ceiling. Once the landlords showed up, upon inspection of the upper units, the owners have found floods, and they asked the upper tenants why they never told them. The tenants simply shrugged and said that they never caused it, and it's been like that for a few days. So they were just waiting for someone to come and fix it. Those tenants clearly don't take responsibility and have no respect for their property, and the landlord ended up paying for that by replacing the floor upstairs and the ceiling downstairs. Here's another type of applicants that you should try to avoid. If you have a move-in date set for a month or so from now, or you just told your prospects that you want to see your options first in terms of applications, they may start trying to convince you to let them move in, waving a wad of cash in your face, saying that they have first and last month's rent that they can give you right now. This is immediately a red flag. Why are they rushing to move in now? What are they running away from? Why are they carrying so much cash? Most people do not look for properties to rent 2 weeks before they absolutely need a place. They usually start looking at least 1 or 2 months in advance. If they're good quality tenants, some landlord will take them within a few days. So someone's excuse of saying that they're not able to find a good home for the past few months, it's rarely true. That usually means they're not a good quality tenant, and they just don't want to admit that. Also, look out for those forcing their character reference letter and contact numbers of their friends and family. I personally have never seen the point of character reference letters. I just want to see how you are as a tenant and how you are as an employee. Those people are hoping you will get distracted by those great words about them and that you won't follow through with the rest of your screening. However, we all know that all friends and family members will of course say they're great people. How often will a mother say how awful her son is, especially when she wants him out of the house and off her hands? Another point is, make sure to always get their first and last month's rent before they get the keys to the home. No exceptions, no matter how many sad stories they gave you about having to get their car repaired last week. If they don't have last and first month's rent currently available in their bank accounts, then this home is probably way out of their budget. While of course it's their business, from a landlord's perspective, tenants should always have backup money in their accounts, enough to cover any expenses should they lose their job or face unexpected expenses. If they say something like, "I will have last and first month's rent closer to the move-in date," this should force you to question their money management skills, especially if they don't even have last month's rent. Of course, everyone has their own situation and their own story that you don't always know about, and it's their business, yes. But really think about it. What will happen when they lose their job after moving into your home? Are you willing to let them stay for free? You'll also often hear people saying that they want to move away from their abusive relationship. Try to avoid those. And as awful and as sad as it sounds, keep in mind that that abusive person could always find the person being abused in your home and then damage your property. Not only that, but when the police comes from something they did, your home is now on their records, and it may cause unnecessary issues for you in the long run. Applicants will often also say that their owner is kicking them out in order to sell the home or take the home for themselves. This one may often be true, so dig into it deeper and call the owners. If it is true, that's fine. Proceed with the application. Otherwise, it may turn out that those tenants have been trying to cover up something that they are being evicted for. First of all, why are they being evicted? And second of all, why are they lying to you? What else are they lying to you about? Either way, it's probably better not to even look into their application any further, now that you found out they lied to you. Another situation that often happens with landlords is they put up their ad that says no pets, and then someone inquires saying, "I can't just throw my pet away, he's my family. Why aren't you allowing pets?" First of all, let me make a quick note that you cannot deny an application for them having pets legally in Ontario, and you especially cannot evict a tenant for having pets, unless it's causing significant damage or is disturbing others. This is at least the case for Ontario. Anyway, it's understandable that your pet is part of your family, but why are you forcing your application into this home specifically? Is it because you're on your high horse and you want to make threats? Because you know that you legally have more power as a tenant over landlords? Most landlords do not even bother replying to those inquiries because of that applicant's attitude. However, it's different when someone is mature and says something like, "I understand you don't want any pets. However, do you mind looking at my application anyway and consider possibly making an exception?" Our property management partner has found many great tenants this way who were willing to put up a voluntary pet deposit. Once again, it's all a matter of character and how those applicants react to situations. It's sort of like a job interview. While we're on the topic of sob stories, let's quickly cover the tenant sob stories as well. Before I continue about current tenants that you may have, keep in mind that it's up to you to judge the situation for what it is. There are moments where you actually have good tenants, and they honestly were put in a situation where they need a few days to pay back rent. For example, maybe there was a medical emergency situation that has set them back a few $1,000s. That's perfectly understandable. However, once this is something that happens a second, or a third, or a fourth time, it's time to put your foot down. The following points are being made assuming that the tenants are giving you these stories in bad faith and lying to you, and they just want to leech off of you as a landlord, not because they actually need a little help. We hear about tenants that are being told that they will be evicted after numerous late payments, and once again, these people start saying they have kids. Well, look, many of us have kids. That's not a good excuse to miss your payments. The owner may have kids too, and that lack of rental income means they have to reach into their own pockets to pay the mortgage, which may mean a smaller lunch that month for little Timmy. As you can see, you can use your child in any story in any scenario, and it's quite shameful to use your own kids for your own lack of financial planning. The tenants clearly cannot afford this home, and it's time for them to find a new one. Another one, once again, may be divorce. They'll say they got divorced, the other person left, and now they're stuck by themselves, not being able to make the rent payments. The most unfortunate, but the best thing to do in this case really is to advise whoever stayed out of that divorce to move out as soon as they can if they are clearly unable to afford it. It's up to you if you want to return the last month's rent to help them out a bit. Most of us personally wouldn't, because that last month's rent is legally for the owner to keep unless they stay for the full lease. It may also be advisable for you to get them out ASAP before fights break out and dishes are being thrown at your walls and your appliances. Who knows how their divorce process will go, especially when they start dividing up who keeps what. Another little story they may give you in hopes of delaying rent payments is the loss of their job. Once again, it's not a black and white situation, so you would have to use your best judgment. However, if it's because they decided to sit on welfare, well, then lack of payments will be persistent, and you need to submit an N4 immediately and suggest they find a more affordable place. Remember, poor quality tenants who don't care have nothing to lose, but you do. Property managers always deal with these sorts of stories, so they don't fall for them. You have to remember to put your emotions aside as a landlord. To summarize, for prospects or applicants, most sob stories should be red flags for you, and those applicants should probably be avoided. For current tenants, there is no excuse for late payments unless, for example, their child had a dental emergency, at which point it's up to you if you want to give them an extra few days. I strongly suggest that you still submit the N4 though. As long as they pay in the next few days, that N4 will not affect them in any way. Just say it's part of your policy. It's just for your own protection as a landlord, so that if it turns out they're lying, you can ultimately file for eviction sooner. If they cannot afford the home for reasons that aren't serious, they must move out. When you get a loan from the bank, for example, they don't care why you cannot make your payments. You either pay on time, or they come after you and your belongings. The same applies here. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us. We're here to help because we specialize in this. If you don't have any time to invest, call us anyway. Maybe we can figure out a plan that works for your schedule so that your money is working hard for you. Also, don't forget that we're partnered with a professional real estate management company that will take over all the heavy lifting for you at a discounted amount if you buy or sell through us. Visit us at Strategicinvestments.ca. Don't procrastinate, don't wait till tomorrow, contact us now.